If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. This show, as always, is brought to you by DraftKings. We are loaded to the gills today. In 45 minutes, Nigel Seeley on the program, Best Bets in Soccer. Ross Tucker on the show. Mike Palm on the show today. Paul Charchian coming off of one of the best appearances, I think, in the history of this show last week, talking about player props in the NFL. He's going to be on the show later on as well. Paulie, yesterday here on the show, on the air, I asked you, are we going to have a coaching job that is filled by the end of the show today? And guess what? We got it. The Dallas Cowboys job has been filled. They're going back to war with Mike McCarthy.
Yep. Not even a Cowboy fan. Just bothers me. It's just, Jerry can talk all he wants, but how do you say you're committed to finally winning a Super Bowl and that's all you think about when you do stupid stuff like this? And you come out with the statement after you bring McCarthy back, pointing to his regular season success, which means nothing. So, as everyone has tweeted already, Femi, livid, a big Cowboy guy. Femi was on the other day. I thought Femi made a great point about the apathy now and why would you even get excited for the upcoming season if you're a Cowboy fan. You know what's going to happen. It's a definition of insanity. And then he's got to be the leader to be the first coach fired. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk threw it out there about, is Jerry this cheap that just didn't want to give him the buyout because he got a year left on the contract? Guy's got a $200 million boat.
I'm going to flip it around on Florio then. How about this? You know how some of these teams, it leaks out immediately when they're done talking to a coach? Atlanta, we've known within 5 seconds, Belichick, Harbaugh, talk to them. What if the Cowboys actually picked up the phone, made some calls, talked to these candidates that are available, huge names out there in the market, and they got feedback telling them, no.
You think really?
I don't want to. I'm not coaching for Jerry Jones, and I don't want to come there with Dak Prescott. I want to go, and all the pressure in the world's going to be on me. No, thank you. There are other really good jobs out there. I'll pass.
Or it could be done, or close to being done. Belichick to Atlanta, Harbaugh to the Chargers, Vrabel to Seattle. That could be.
Right. Also, I specifically did this on X Sunday after the game when they got blasted against Green Bay. And first of all, the Packers have not gotten nearly enough credit. That's why I started the show on Monday giving them credit before we got into the McCarthy thing this week anywhere. Right? And coaches get a lot of the blame, probably too much of the blame whenever something goes sideways. And on the Twitter poll, I said, who do you blame more for the Cowboys, McCarthy or Prescott? And I specifically left off Jerry Jones and Dan Quinn because I didn't want the voting to get skewed, and I didn't want those two guys to be part of the conversation. More than 2,700 votes, 57% of the people chiming in said they blame Mike McCarthy. If you blame Mike McCarthy more than Dak Prescott for Sunday's loss, I can't help you. That, again, in order, Mike McCarthy's fourth on the list for what happened on Sunday. He just is.
Well, Quinn's ahead of him. Dak, no doubt Dak's ahead of him.
Now, is Quinn really ahead of him?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Or is it possible that the defense gets talked about so much and their ratings are through the roof, the numbers look great, and it's basically only Parsons and Lawrence because they pounded up on piss-poor teams at home the entire year?
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to, I understand that. You also have to stop something. If Jones wasn't gashing him on the ground, Dobbs was wide open, and Love was picking him apart. It was 27-0. I mean, it just can't happen.
Well, sometimes the players deserve a lot of the blame. They were horrendous in that game.
Yeah. Well, the other, if you want to, we know who the last 29 years are on. I mean, that's an all-time no-brainer.
Well, it's number one's Jerry Jones, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I've had success and made a lot of money with oil. Therefore, I'm an NFL expert, and I can get rid of Jimmy Johnson, and I'll call the shots, and it'll work out. 29 years without making an NFC title game. Brady won more playoff games in Tampa than Dallas has won in the last 27 years. It's a joke. I mean, I thought Femi nailed it Tuesday, just saying, how do you get excited for next year? Who's going to games? Send a message to Jerry and send a message with your wallet that I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And I'm 15 years now. It's going to be at least 15 years of Garrett McCarthy.
Right. So is Jerry Jones going to live till he's 105? And are we going to hear this when he's 93 years old? Well, guys,
I know.
I'm 93 years old. I'd like to win another playoff game before I'm dead. But, what am I going to do about it? It's the same thing year after year after year. And
that's why I thought it would happen. You're in your young early 80s. I know, but
it's like a conflict of interest here because he said the same thing with Garrett, and Garrett stayed there with it for a decade.
That's right.
And Garrett was awful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a total guessing game. And here's the thing: I do think McCarthy personally, I think McCarthy got way too much blame for what happened on Sunday, as I just said. But overall, in totality, if you don't know this by now, then he's not a good football coach. Right, he never should have been picked as the guy to take over for Jason Garrett.
Absolutely, never should have got the job, no doubt about it. And this is how about in it? We mentioned this on Monday as well. Here was the press conference after he said, "Well, I told Jerry Jones I've been watching film in the barn and studying analytics, and I watched every play from the entire season." And he was asked about it when he was introduced. Here's the question at the press conference when Jerry introduced him.
You said you analyzed every play or watched every play of the entire 2019 season. What is it that you learned from that experience that you think will benefit you most here?
Well, I need to confess. I told Jerry I watched every play of the 2019 season, but I wanted the job. So I haven't watched every play of the season, but it was just, you do what you got to do, right?
Oh my God! That's how, and he's sitting right next to him.
Totally duped him.
That's how the press conference starts. That's Ed Werder, by the way, with the question. That is just unbelievable. I'd be so pissed if I'm Jerry. And he brings him back, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, what's the difference between what he said there at that press conference and a coach lying on his resume? Which has gotten guys canned before they...
O'Leary, yeah.
O'Leary accepted the job. No, hold on a second. We found a glitch in your line, pal.
Yep.
To me, it's kind of the same thing.
If it was a big reason he got the job, sure. And he made the whole thing up. I wanted the job. Yeah, I made it up.
Been in the barn this whole off season, man. We looked at every play, analytics. I'm going to accept everything now. Oh, man.
That takes onions to say it right in front of your boss.
No kidding.
There's no one would ever find out. The only person that would know the truth is you and your wife. And he puts it on Front Street there, too. But it's also rich and just typical Jerry Jones that you point to the regular season success and leave out, he only has one playoff win. Okay, but that's been the organization for 29 years, though.
So Dak also came out and said he's the reason why I took the leap this year in the regular season. And so when Jerry Jones hears that, he's going to be like, well, Dak likes him.
Well, I know, but he's part of the problem, too.
Of course.
And now you're going to pay this guy. You can't pay this guy all this money. What's he won? He hasn't won a damn thing either. It was set up beautifully for you. Philly was a fraud. All you had to do was win 2 home games. You were in the NFC title game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And by the way, Michael Lombardi, longtime executive in the NFL, longtime VSiN host now as well, comes on this show every single Monday. He wrote a story. It's up on vsin.com about great quarterback play getting in this round. But in this, he called the Packers and the Texans the 2 most dangerous teams in the playoffs at this point. And he was breaking down what happened in the Packers-Cowboys game. And Lombardi would know this, right? Brent Musburger used to tell us this, 90% of coaches know the point spread. In his story, Lombardi says that some coaches will absolutely peak at the point spread. And he said, did that happen with Mike McCarthy and the Packers? Potentially. And they saw that they were huge favorites against Green Bay, and they took them lightly. And if so, then clearly that would be a huge problem for McCarthy. And to transition into this weekend's game, he said, trust me on this. Kyle Shanahan probably knows the point spread. He's not going to take Green Bay lightly. That's the difference again, right? If he's right with that.
Mm-hmm. It already happened to San Francisco. Baltimore talked about it all week.
Sure.
How are we getting this many points when we think we're the best team? Could be an angle there, too. Harbaugh can play the same thing. Texans can play the no-respect card. Wait a second. We won the division? We just beat Cleveland by 30? We're a 9.5-point dog? Yeah, he might be onto something there.
Something's going to come out probably in the next couple of days. Hopefully by end of day tomorrow. Somebody there in Dallas will know the full story. Did Jerry not pick up the phone? Did he have zero interest in talking to any coach? Was that a possibility? Was he like really dead set on bringing Mike McCarthy back?
I lean that side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was stunned when Schefter broke the news. I just are you kidding? This was such a slam dunk with all the guys that are out there. Oh. And I'm also frustrated because, yes, this is the best sport. Everyone loves it. We'll get to the ratings and what happened over the weekend. But the league is better and more interesting when Dallas and the Raiders are good.
Yeah.
And the big boys and the Cowboys have just been a train wreck here for 20 years. It's just, how do you not make this move? You're in your early 80s. You haven't won a damn thing in 29 years. Belichick, Vrabel, and Harbaugh are out there, and you punt again. And rest assured, you'll probably be gone by week 8 of next year.
I think it's so much juicier, though. If you said what you said is correct, or what I brought up could be correct, either he's too cheap for the buyout, or, they talked to every other coach, and they're like, nah, we're going to pass.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Well, if Dan Graziano nails this, and maybe you might have something there, that these 3 of these are already decided, with the big 3, then maybe he did pick up the phone and it's like, nah, can't do it. I'm already locked into Atlanta or the Chargers, or I'm going to Seattle.
What's the timeline with Vrabel in Seattle?
Carroll, after Vrabel was let go, Carroll was gone the next day. Dan Graziano, ESPN, hunch and sources, Vrabel to Seattle. That's his prediction.
I was reading this week as well. Strong connection there between Vrabel and the Seahawks GM.
Okay.
So you have that. So that would be the threesome then, huh? Vrabel to the Seahawks, you brought Belichick to the Falcons, and then Harbaugh to the Chargers.
Yes.
The Belichick to the Falcons thing still seems so weird to me. Like, of all teams, Atlanta to end his career. Isn't that odd?
Well, I'd rather go there than Washington, though.
Well, no, I know
Wouldn't
that,
you?
but I mean...
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see what Harbaugh might change his mind.
You know who really screwed this up? Chicago.
Yes, they did.
Big time.
Yep.
All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, Paul called it one of the worst beats he's ever seen. I don't even know what he's talking about. I'll find out. You'll find out coming up next here on VSiN.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Las Vegas. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. In this hour, Ross Tucker will join the program. We'll go rapid fire with all 4 games in the divisional round. That's in 15 minutes. Paulie has look-ahead lines for every potential matchup championship weekend. Next weekend. Can't wait to find out the rundown on most of those games coming up. And if you missed any of the show yesterday, we tried ranking. This, I thought, was extremely difficult to do. We tried to rank the remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs. If you missed it, you can go back and search Follow the Money wherever you get your podcasts. Today, we'll try to do the same thing with coaches. Ranking the remaining coaches here in the playoffs. In reverse order, Paulie. 8th overall. The worst of the best?
Yes.
Is that what you want to call it? Okay. Todd Bowles, I have number 8.
So do I.
For the Buccaneers. It did not go well for him when he was with the Jets.
Right.
So it's been a very small sample size with him as a head coach overall, but somebody's got to be last on this list, and that's where I put Todd Bowles.
And someone had to win the NFC South. So
kind of by default.
Yeah, can't give him that much credit. Here's another reason why I still have him 8th as well, which, yes, you mentioned with the Jets. 21-17 Detroit on Sunday. Tampa at the Detroit 40-yard line, and it's I'll call it the 38. Tampa at the Detroit 38-yard line, and it's 4th and 3. What's he going to do? I'd say I may kick a field goal, the favorite.
Probably.
Yep. Then punt. And number 2. That's Todd Bowles.
That's who he is.
Very old school, very conservative.
Yep. Who do you have 7th overall?
McDermott.
Wow, we agree.
Yes.
I have McDermott 7th as well.
Yep.
I mean, overall, he is going to get... Oh, look at how many times they win games. Yeah, but also think about this. How good the roster has been for the last 4 or 5 years. And also what really happened to the AFC East after Brady left. So that all correlates at the same exact time. So is McDermott really this genius of a head coach? I don't think so.
Right. Didn't squib kick. Cost him a chance maybe to win the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
That still comes back to haunt him.
Yep.
And then Dorsey was the fall guy this year as well.
wasn't going well, pin the blame on somebody else. And you're right, like previous mistakes these coaches have made are going to weigh in with how we rank.
Yeah.
Right? And rank these guys right now in the order, and you're exactly right. That Chiefs game should have been over with.
But the other candidates, though, you want to point to lack of talent or lesser talent and unbelievable turnarounds. That's another reason why you have to have them down the list with the other guys we're going to get to.
That's right. Okay. So far, we're 2 for 2. Who do you have sixth?
LaFleur.
Wow, we're 3 for 3.
Youngest roster in the league. I'll raise my hand. I thought he was a below-average coach, but what he's done with Rodgers gone now, and to do this with the youngest roster and then go into Dallas and hammer them, and how well Love has played down the stretch, I have LaFleur 6. He's done an excellent job.
He really has. You're exactly right. It was very easy to pin all of that success on Aaron Rodgers when he was there because Rodgers won those 2 MVPs and he played out of his mind.
Winning 13 games every year.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, you want to talk about previous mistakes? This guy's going to have to win a Super Bowl, I think, before I forget what he did on 4th down against the Buccaneers at home.
That's a good point. That was bad. That was awful.
You're down by 8 points.
Yep.
Late in the game, you haven't had a solution. You couldn't stop Tom Brady the entire game, and you kicked a field goal to make it a 5-point game.
Yep.
Hoping to get a stop. You never saw the ball again. I couldn't believe what was happening. It's 4 years ago. I can't get over it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's gotten a lot better. The play calling and the decision to do this with Jordan Love, I think really it's like both guys deserve a lot of credit here. But the early play calling in games now, and when you look at 9 straight games where Green Bay has scored the first touchdown.
Yep.
That's like out of the gates. You know what you're doing. The scripted plays have been fantastic.
Yep. Concur on all of it. Number 5, I have D'Amico Ryans. And that's going to be awkward if Stefanski now wins Coach of the Year. They just played in the playoffs and Ryans won. I understand it's a regular season award, but this organization was atrocious. 3 wins, 4 wins. He comes in and immediately, with a rookie quarterback?
Yeah.
And he immediately comes in and takes them to a division title and they win a playoff game by 30 points? How about the video that came out yesterday telling, I think it was Nelson, I could have the wrong guy.
Harris, maybe?
Yeah. But saying, here's what you're going to do here. Look for this from Flacco. Next play, pick 6.
Yeah.
That's great coaching.
I actually have Dan Campbell, number 5.
All right, I have him 4. That's okay.
Okay, so we flip-flopped him there.
Same thing. How bad were the Lions? So I know we criticize him for too aggressive and fake punts from his own 15, but come on. What Dan Campbell's done the last 2 years. Well, great job.
The in-game stuff has haunted him.
Yes.
Okay, over this year for sure, done a couple of really bizarre things, but you can't, the way that he has motivated the team and that rah-rah attitude has really worked. I know it's fun to mock him and the biting the kneecaps, and he has, 7,000 milligrams of coffee every day by the time you wake up. So he's actually covering that guy. If you lived and worked in media in Detroit, it's got to be a blast to cover him because he's an unbelievable soundbite. But the fake punt still, and always by default just going for it on 4th down. Yes, you embrace the analytics, but every single time, I think you got to know game flow, situation of football on top of that has to be a factor. And he's too emotional, as Michael Lombardi has called him before. He's reckless. And I look at D'Amico Ryans and. First of all, what a job by selecting Bobby Slovic for his offensive coordinator. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive coach, and this has been an offensive story in what they've done with C.J. Stroud. This guy has done an amazing job in year number 1.
A little conservative, though. Kicked a field goal from the 2-yard line on 4th and goal.
Right.
To go up 3-0 last week. I mentioned what he did against the Colts in the Week 18 game. He wasn't lined up ready to go 4th and 1 at midfield. They had to punt there, and then he punted 4th and 2 also from midfield. But still, I know you think he should win Coach of the Year. Certainly Stefanski couldn't have been 1-10 going into Weeks 18. And that's still, I think that's going to be a close vote coming up.
As do I. So then 1 through 3, I think this might be the most difficult part of the entire order, although you really can't go wrong at the same time. 3rd, I have Harbaugh.
So do I.
They define the word consistency in Baltimore. They're always a player the way it seems. They've had a lot of injuries in the past.
Here's what I love also. The regular season success. But if he does something in-game, why'd you go for 2? Why'd you do this down 13? He always has an answer ready, and he knows every analytical decision and why it was made and has it ready for the reporters afterwards.
Right. It's not willy-nilly.
It's all thought out. It's
right.
everything. He knows exactly what he's going to do in every situation. And go back to last year as well. Now, it was a bad job with the clock management in the final 2 minutes. He should have won that game. Silly turnovers, right? You fumbled at the 1. Should have beat Joe Burrow on the road with Huntley.
Yep.
Great coaching job.
Yeah, and so if you compare the soundbite with John Harbaugh after a game when he is criticized or questioned about it in game to something that Brandon Staley would say over the years, it's completely different. Staley he never really had, well, we have an analytical answer for every single, well, then explain that. Why? Why is the play calling so bad then when you're in 4th and short and you go for it every single time? Why? And then you changed your mind because the media got to you. Why would you change your mind? Now, this guy used to be automatic, Harbaugh, in terms of going for it, and he settled for field goals down the stretch this year rather than going for it more often. But remember that year in 2019, that was like 4th and 3 at our 40-yard line. We know we're going to get the first down. You're not going to stop us. And if you don't, or if you do, we have such a good defense that you're not going to move the football on us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, and again, I could probably have this guy number 1, but I have a number 2. It's Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. I have Shanahan 2 and Andy Reid number 1.
Yeah. I love Shanahan. And if anybody puts him number 1 for remaining head coaches, you're not going to get an argument from you whatsoever. I know that you're going to point to his number 1 a Super Bowl. Andy Reid has 2 of them now. I get it.
Well, one guy has Mahomes. The other guy had Garoppolo.
Exactly right.
And Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah. Look at what he's done with Mr. Irrelevant. Now, the organization here, they don't screw around. They put together an amazing roster for this guy, and they thought that they were one more weapon, like they needed Christian McCaffrey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they go out and make that trade happen to even take him up to that next level. But also, like, how much credit does he get for Brock Purdy's success? Probably a lot.
Yep. And Andy Reid, certainly, he took a lot of abuse in Philly. I mean, the guy went to, 4 or 5 straight NFC title games? And what he did?
Oh, yeah.
So, Andy Reid's success prior to Kansas City. He's got a great resume.
Yeah.
And you have to love the stuff off the bye with this guy his whole career.
Sure. And with Mahomes again, this is the first road playoff game. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Yep.
Is that they get the job done pretty much in the regular season every single year. And, made those runs towards Super Bowl titles as well.
To me, this was very easy.
Yeah, this one was boring compared to the quarterbacks.
That was the quarterbacks almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yep. And interesting, too, to tie it all in, to Dan Graziano on ESPN.com. They asked him what he thinks is going to happen, where these coaches are going to wind up. Chargers, Harbaugh. He's been told Harbaugh really likes Herbert. He thinks Harbaugh to the Chargers. Vrabel to Seattle. Hunch and sources, the timing also, the day after Vrabel was let go, Carroll was let go. Aaron Glenn to Tennessee. Former player, the appeal as a former player, much like Dan Campbell. Ben Johnson to Washington. Callahan to Carolina, the Bengals OC. Slowick, if it's not Callahan. And Belichick to Atlanta. If it's not Belichick, dark horse Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson. That's one man's opinion, but that's what he thinks based on what he's hearing and what he thinks the direction these organizations are going to go.
I would disagree with one of those. Maybe he's right on it, but I would disagree with that direction. I think if you're Tennessee, you need to go after Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick. You need to get an offensive guy.
Yeah, I'm with you. He has Slowick mentioned too as a possible candidate with Tennessee as well.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I would think it's going to be Slowick.
Yeah, and I think Titans fans would be doing cartwheels if they could land that guy.
Yep.
Again, you don't know which coordinators are going to work, which ones aren't going to, but do you really want to follow Mike Vrabel with another defensive coach?
Yeah. I don't get the whole Aaron Glenn thing.
No.
How bad has the defense been since week 7?
Ross Tucker on the program coming up next. We'll get his thoughts, rapid fire style of all 4 divisional round games coming up next here on VSiN.
We love food, and Omaha Steaks, you'll fall in love at first bite with their tender steaks, juicy burgers, air-chilled chicken, and more. You're going to love every bite. It's Omaha Steaks guarantee. And for a limited time, when you go to omahasteaks.com/VSiN, you get 4 free air-chilled boneless chicken breast and 4 free rich, juicy boneless pork chops with your order. Minimum purchase may apply. omahasteaks.com/VSiN. We love food. We love talking fast food.
Can't go wrong with Omaha Steaks.
No doubt. Everyone has an opinion on fast food as well. This was all over social media yesterday. The Eagles tweeted this out. Jason Kelsey got his favorite gal at the drive-thru at McDonald's and gave her an autographed jersey. There's the tweet. There's the picture. Ross responds to the tweet. I guarantee he ordered a sausage McMuffin with egg because that's the greatest sandwich of all time. Kelsey responds, you bleep and know it. 2 sausage, egg, and cheese and a large coffee every time.
Is it good?
I go no egg.
So do I. That's how I used to order it anyway.
Yeah. That's my go-to.
I used to get...
Although I was not... You put me on this. Chick-fil-A's breakfast dunks on McDonald's breakfast.
Oh, Chick-fil-A's breakfast is the real deal. It's the real deal, Holyfield.
Yes, it is. Oh, that burrito? Choke an elephant, that thing.
I do that once a week.
Yes.
I stop. I get it. I can't believe it. There's never a line at a Chick-fil-A drive-thru in the morning. People are sleeping on the breakfast.
Well, keep it quiet.
So it takes 30 seconds. You get the chicken. You go chicken and sausage, right?
Yes.
I get the chicken burrito without potatoes, add double chicken. I want the double chicken on it.
Heady play.
Oh, it's so
good job.
It's a monster burrito, by the way.
Choke a hippo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am full until if I eat that at 7:30.
Absolutely.
I'm full until 1.
You're good. Oh,
Easy.
yes, you are.
Easily.
You're all set. Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But I don't disagree. When I used to go I honestly don't do fast food as much as I used to, but when I did all the time, that was one of my go-tos was the sausage and muffin, no eggs, let's dance.
Yeah. Give me the cheese and give me the hash brown too. And they got good OJ.
Yep. This is from Bob on X. Five Guys is an elite burger.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time in Shanghai last year, and luckily for me, there was a Five Guys downtown I could go to when I craved a good burger. It was a little cheaper over there as well. Okay, so let's plan a trip to Shanghai. You're not.
It's huge. That burger is so big. And I understand the price too. I mean, but you're going to get a ton of food. You are right. They fill the bag with fries.
Oh,
they stuff that sucker. I'm like, what is this? This is how much I get? Now it's $20.
Huh.
But it's still, but Shake Shack also, I go Shake Shack and then I'll go, I can't remember Culver's. I've only had it once.
Yeah.
But I remember I was blown away by the menu and how good everything was.
This is from Go Fast Tony on X. Culver's at 6-1 is a sleeping giant on that list.
Oh, sure. That's what humans' go-to was with the Butter Burger. Yep.
I got to go back and have it again. It's been too long. Okay, you have look-ahead lines for championship weekend. You gave us a couple earlier. I was shocked by one of them, but go ahead.
Right. And I'm so big into this, too, because of the 8 teams left, I have futures on 6 of them. And they range from 375,000 to 7,500. So I want to...
Which 2 teams do you not have futures on?
Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Bay of Pigs. Those are the only 2 I don't have futures on.
When did you get Buffalo?
Monday.
You bet them to win the AFC?
I made a deal with our guy, Chris. Chris from the Blackjack tournament, the guy who watches on Nesson, he has him 165,000. Worked a little deal there, saver with Chris.
Wait. From the Blackjack tournament, he has the Bills to win 165,000?
Yeah.
When was this?
This was in December when I knocked you out on the last hand.
He got Buffalo at what price?
4th pick, 16-1.
Okay.
$10,000.
$10,000 on it then?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were, what were they at the time? 8-6 or something? I go back and look.
Yeah, they had that stretch of games that they had to have coming up.
Okay, so I asked the guys down the street at the Westgate, what do you think?
Well, give me the games.
Bills? Okay, no, I'll tease it. Houston beats Baltimore. No matter what happens in the other game, they are a 6.5-point dog. The Chiefs and Bills are both 6.5 against Houston if they win. Baltimore is 3.5 against either team as well. These are the guys at the Westgate.
Okay,
Ed Salmons, Jeff Sherman do a great job.
So last week, the thought was the Bills would be about 10.5 against Houston.
Right.
And the Ravens would be about 11. But if the Texans go back-to-back wins here as a home dog, and then if they would go to Baltimore and win, the power rating's got to go up, obviously.
Absolutely. And we'll get another explanation coming up.
I think the Ravens against Buffalo or KC at 3.5 is too many. Anything north of 3, you got to take the dog.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. That's, well, I mean, depending on what happens this weekend, for sure.
You're talking about a Texans win by 30 points over Cleveland, who was hot, and then you'd be beating the 1 seed, the hottest team in the NFL. They've won 6 of 7, and their point differential is plus 90. And what they did to Purdy on Monday night. So KC or Buffalo, both 6.5 at home to Houston. Baltimore 3.5 at home to KC and the Bills.
I'm trying to think here. If KC has home field to go to the Super Bowl, and it's this defense playing at this level against Stroud, is that going to be his most difficult matchup?
Well, you give up 17 a game.
I mean, to say that
Baltimore's got a great defense too.
I'm saying that would be based on Stroud going there and winning this weekend. Then,
yeah, it's yes. What about so? What does it look like? Did anyone get hurt? A lot going into it. San Francisco will be 7.5 in the NFC title game against Detroit.
Man, isn't it difficult to think that Detroit is only 2 points better than Green Bay?
Yeah, I think that's a horrible matchup for Detroit. I think the Niners would carve them up and do whatever they wanted offensively. San Francisco.
What's the total in that game?
Yes, that's where I was going. I didn't. 13.5 against Tampa.
Oh, man. And they're 9.5 against Green Bay. And Tampa Bay and Green Bay just played at Lambeau, and the Buccaneers eviscerated them.
I know. How things have changed, my friend.
Man, oh, man. 13.5.
Detroit, 2.5 at home to the Packers.
Okay, then what's Green Bay at Tampa?
2.5. Green Bay, 2.5.
Green Bay's favored by 2.5 then.
Well, you just buried. You'd be beating the top 2 seeds in the NFC.
Of course, you have to consider that.
You have a hot quarterback, and how hot would the Packers be? You're right. They didn't play that long ago.
They just played, yeah.
But you're getting healthy at the right time. You're getting Alexander. You got Alexander back. They're a different team with Jones. Green Bay favored at Tampa.
Give me Jordan Love versus Baker Mayfield to go to the Super Bowl.
No.
That would be incredible.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Oh, that'd be... No, not minus your bets again. Forget about that.
But I still don't want to see that.
You don't want to see that game?
No.
Oh,
no bets. I want the big boys.
I would be drooling. Imagine they go to Dallas and San Francisco back to back.
I'm the same way. I think the same way in baseball, same way in the NFL. We just did this for 5 months. I want 1 seeds.
Yeah, okay, but what at that point, think of the stretch that Green Bay would be on.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Again, Detroit, Buffalo, Super Bowl, the world ends. Absolutely. And imagine what it would be like in Las Vegas with Bills Mafia taking over and what those Lions fans are like. FTM@vsin.com. You can email or tweet at us thoughts on those look-ahead lines.
I think I would want to
What do you want to do if those are some of the matchups next weekend?
Again, you'd have to consider everything here. If the Texans would go to Baltimore and win this weekend, but I can get less than a touchdown with KC at home if they would beat the Bills 6.5 against the, I don't know. I hate laying numbers too in the NFL, but that just seems like it might be a tad cheap. I love these scenarios.
Right. Because I enjoyed what happened Saturday, but I'm thinking, do you believe this? I got a future for $375,000 and I'm going to be a double-digit dog 3 games in a row?
Well, yeah, you can believe it because they were priced that way for a reason.
But how well they're playing, though. But since it's changed now, because, yes, I'm a 9.5-point dog Saturday. Now I'm down to 6.5 if I win. But then what if I'm going against the Niners? I'm probably a double. What is that? Is that 8? Is it 10? San Francisco, Houston Super Bowl? I don't know.
Well, again, consider what the Texans would have done at that point.
Yeah.
Go to Baltimore, win outright, 9.5-point dogs. But go to KC or Buffalo, win outright.
But the argument then on the other side would be, do the Niners beat the Packers by 14 or more? And do they bury whoever wins the Tampa game?
Think about this for a second. If we do get blowouts this weekend or one blowout, like try to predict which game that's going to be, a game that you would lay alternate numbers in, which one would it be? Because it's unlikely, based on history, that we're going to get 4 games that are tight. It's actually happened. I went back and looked at the history of the divisional round.
Well, we're due after what happened this past week. Only one of the 6 games were close.
It's Haley's Comet, but you do get 4 close games occasionally. It's certainly not common, but if we get a blowout, where's it coming from?
It's the first game Saturday. Baltimore by 17 or more. They frustrate Stroud. They force some turnovers. They do what they want offensively. Lamar exercises the demons. He has a big game. Top 5 defense. Great home field advantage. They get it done. 20-point win.
I know I said this last week with I thought Dallas was going to be able to score at will against Green Bay. Never happened. I mean, would you be shocked, though, if this is the end of the line for Green Bay? And I hate saying that because, I would love to see it, but as well as, this could be a really bad matchup for them, too.
Yeah.
Unless their defense somehow just puts it together again, which this is not who they've been the entire year.
It's a tough turnaround. You played a great game against Dallas. Now you got to go do it again against the highest power-rated team.
More props coming up next. His number is in the low 80s, yet he accounted for 140 plus in their first meeting.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
Well, when we first started doing the discussions on a daily basis with the first period total talk back in 2019, Alex Smith, who is a really good NHL handicapper, was the first guy who put us on that. He reached out to me this week and he said, hey, watch for this spot on Thursday. Here are the details. The Kings are 1-9 in their last 10. They recently snapped an 8-game losing streak as they beat Carolina. Now tonight, they take on Nashville. It's a Malinsky special, by the way.
Yeah.
They're coming back from a 6-game road trip to take on Nashville. The Predators have won 11 of their last 13 against LA. And at home, the Kings have lost 19. Checked it. They've lost 12 of 19. And they're laying a price tonight. I'm taking the Predators on the money line. Plus 136 is the best I could find here this morning. It's available nationally as well. So give me Nashville tonight. The play I gave out yesterday, it was Jazz minus 3.5 against the Warriors. Obviously, a very sad story there. The assistant coach for the Warriors had a heart attack at a team dinner, I believe it was, the night before, and he passed away yesterday.
He's our age.
46.
My God.
Are you serious?
Terrible.
So the game was canceled, and obviously that's, refunded bet then.
Yep. All right. It's a great hockey card tonight, too. Tampa plus 6. They are 8-1 ATS in road games this year. See if Baker can do it again. I don't trust the Detroit defense. Every team to score a touchdown this weekend. Yes, minus $2. Jordan Love, will he throw an interception? No, plus 125. That's gone up. That keeps going up. I can't believe it. Stroud, same thing. Will Stroud throw an interception? No, plus 125. These are plus 140 now. Peterborough, Shrewsbury Town, over 2.5. Saturday, League One. 12 of the last 13 matches with Peterborough have gone over 2.5. Adding Mahomes. Will Mahomes throw an interception? No. Minus 110. Broncos. This is his first road playoff game. But I don't think he'll turn it over. And I like Allen to throw a pick. And again, if you go to our prop analyzer at vsin.com, if you bet Stroud no, you're up 10 units. He's 13-3. If you bet Allen yes, you're up plenty. He's 14-4. I say those three guys don't, and Allen does. There you go. If you're looking for a betting edge through the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl, we have you covered at VSiN. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get access to the daily best bets with the leaderboard and who has the hot hand. Sign up today. First 30 days, $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Yeah, that's on me, by the way. I did bet Josh Allen over an INT minus 109. I forgot to give it to Luke. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning during the week, I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me about it. Reba McEntire will perform the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Post Malone. You a fan?
I like him. I know that you don't, right?
No, I like him.
I think he's very, very talented.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from?
No, I thought you ripped on him before.
Well, I'm surprised he's doing America the Beautiful. But I like the Beer Bongs and Bentleys. That's a pretty good album.
I think he's super solid, man, across the board. As an entertainer, singer, right. Plays a lot of instruments.
Okay. Usher's doing the halftime. What do you think?
I don't know.
Are we done with rock? What are we doing here? We can't get rock anymore?
No, I think this is going to be it now.
That's it?
I think it's going to be no, you can't say that because...
Well, the Chili Peppers were a while ago. We had Tom Petty. We had The Who.
I thought 2 years ago, though, when they gave us Dre, Snoop,
that was good.
Eminem.
You also had the LA Connection.
That was phenomenal. But yeah, it's turned into Katy Perry and Lady Gaga. But honestly, I think they've been pretty good halftime shows. Like people, no matter what, no matter who plays.
Yep, right.
Michael Jackson can come back from the dead and put on an absolute A+ performance. People would have a problem with it. Elvis Presley can come back. Same thing. The show that Jennifer Lopez and Shakira put on
very good.
Was outstanding. And yet all I saw was, this sucks. What are they doing?
Yeah. Old people, right. I didn't think Rihanna was that good, but I cut her a break. She had a bun in the oven.
Yeah.
So that was, between the lip syncing and other stuff, it's just, you're up against it. I mean, I think she's pregnant again. Did I see that right?
Is that two in a row or three in a row?
I don't know. Maybe it was the internet got me, but social media. But that's a good point about this. The old people really coming out about if it's the younger performer and what old people think.
I'm surprised that she doesn't need to do it, obviously, but I'm surprised that Las Vegas, go big or go home, right? I'm surprised that Taylor Swift's not doing it. I thought this would be, the Eras Tour here. It dominated all of 2023. She was her own economy.
Yeah.
She was building economies across the world, every city she went into.
Her. Giving truck drivers $100,000. That's
Sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Probably wants to take some time off. Probably was a grueling tour. Remember Metallica toured for 2.5 years straight?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? The hell with it. We'll have the energy. We'll do it. That album was so hot, and after Enter Sandman, they toured for 2.5 years straight.
I can't. How does James have a voice at that point?
I know.
Be impossible.
Are
you okay with Usher?
It
feels like Usher 10 years ago, maybe, but
not a fan. There's a lot of hits, but I think there's better options out there, and we can mix it up. And don't forget about rock music too.
Did you like The Weeknd?
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Gaga was good. Prince was unbelievable.
Oh, Prince was
all time.
Top of the list, yeah. Very, very top of the list.
Right.
So we started the show, again, going back, to yesterday, we're kicking around the idea of, will one of these openings across the NFL at head coach be filled by the end of this show? Well, we have 25 minutes left. And I was joking around to begin the show saying, Dallas, they found their guy. It's Mike McCarthy. So you said earlier that you were really surprised, but you said earlier in the week, though, that you would not be, you think Jerry Jones would actually consider bringing him back.
Well, it just hit me because it's like, of course he doesn't do the right thing. Of course this was such
I'm not surprised.
It was such a no-brainer, and but again, it goes back to what we do for a living, and the NFL is at its best when the Cowboys and Raiders are good. And for just Dallas, yes, they won what they did in the regular season, but it's 29 years. For this guy, just with the ego, and then who knows, maybe it's the being cheap, that he didn't want to pay the buyout, even though he has a $200 million boat. But it was such a no-brainer that you would move on for this guy with who's out there and available, that you point in the statement to his regular season success. It's an absolute embarrassment. I know Femi had a profanity-laced tirade on X. He was on with us Tuesday, who works here, and a Cowboy fan. Just for the apathy to send in, and how do you even get excited to want to go to a game or buy tickets if you're a Cowboys fan? And he has to absolutely be the favorite to be the first coach fired next year. But to go 29 years and you can't even make an NFC title game. And it's also historic. This has never happened in the 4 major sports, that you've had this type of winning percentage 3 years in a row, and you can't even make a title game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we played the comments, the press conference from the get-go, where the whole thing was set up on a lie to begin with. I watched every game of every snap that season. I lied. I wanted the job. I say it in front of Jerry at the press conference.
Right. So I'm curious, overall, how misleading was their power rating and the final scores of how they dominated some of these teams at home this year? Again, don't forget, it came at the expense of the Commanders and the Giants and the Jets the week after they lost Aaron Rodgers, and the Patriots, who were just an absolute stink bomb. And some of these, they did pound the Rams. That's the one game you can look at and say, very impressive. I know they also beat the Eagles by 20. Mm-hmm. Who can't beat the Eagles by 20 right now? So the Rams, the one game that truly sticks out. The other games, so I'm looking at next year's schedule, the home schedule, and if you take out the divisional teams, they get the Saints at home, the Buccaneers at home, Baltimore will play in Dallas, Cincinnati plays in Dallas, they get Detroit and Houston. So based on what we've seen with the last 4 teams I just mentioned, Burrow will be back, you think, fully healthy at that time. Might not be as easy to do it at home like it was this year.
For him to point to the regular season success and ignore the only one playoff win that McCarthy's had in his Dallas tenure, it's just...
I did not think it could get worse with how the game finished against San Francisco at home 2 years ago in the playoffs, where they called the quarterback sneak with 14 seconds left and no timeouts. And gotten worse. I mean, the game against Green Bay as a 7-point home favorite was over with in the second quarter.
And I saw a lot of this on social media too. I don't think it's in poor taste to point out his age and just say, listen, you're running out of time here.
Yeah.
You're in your 80s. You haven't made a title game in 29 years. You have 4 playoff wins the last 27. Brady won 5 just in Tampa. And you don't want to just say, I would love, until my numbers up, and that's it for me. I'd love to go out and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so again,
at least get there. And he has a chance to do that and move on from this guy who never got the job in the first place. But it's infuriating to be a Dallas fan. You are stuck now at least 15 combined years of McCarthy and Garrett.
Yeah, it just feels like we're in a never-ending cycle here. Like, so when he's 95 years old, picture this in 14, 15 years. When he finally fires McCarthy and then he hires Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore is there for 7 years and they can't get out of the first round, I got to be patient.
I don't know. Right. Does the son do the same thing? I don't know. Maybe it's all about ego, and then the son just takes over, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to hire a big-time coach. I want the credit.
All right, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian with an A-plus appearance last week. Find out who he likes with player props coming up next.
Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. Bill Lady does a great job, and check it out with the latest odds and trends. Links to the VSiN Top Reads, latest podcast. Today, there's a good write-up and preview on the Ravens-Texans game, vsin.com/newsletter.
And by the way, for those asking questions still, for the frequently asked questions, Bill created a link to that. I tweeted that out as well, at Mitch Moss Radio, vsin.com to go check it out. On top of it, okay, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian joins the program now. Dare I say, based on the results, his best appearance of all time last week?
Yes.
Nothing to live up to this week, Charge.
No, right. I can't top that, I don't think. So we gave out 10 angles. We lost one of them on the final carry of Kareem Hunt's day, and he hit the over. We were under by 1 yard. And then the only thing we missed was we had hit Puka Nacua 4 different ways, and the only thing he didn't hit was first touchdown. So I don't feel bad. If I go 8 out of 10 and I missed a first touchdown, which is awfully tough, and I miss a guy by a yard, that's it. I can only go down from there. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. And I wonder how many people were all over the Nacua stuff. I mean, same game parlays to lead the weekend in receiving yards, all those numbers that were available. So based on him blowing up, and you had a beautiful breakdown of that last week against this Lions defense, what does that mean for Tampa's matchup coming up on Sunday?
We're going to exploit the same angle that got us to Puka Nacua with a little bit. The results weren't exactly how I described it. And Mitch, you and I texted about this mid-game a little bit. Last week, we highlighted how bad Lions cornerback Kindle Vildor is. Now, and the way they use Kindle Vildor is they basically spent the game hiding him. And they put him on the opposite side of Puka Nacua as much as they possibly can. So even with Nacua blowing up, and even though Kindle Vildor is on the other side of the field, he still got roasted, just not by Puka, who did hit him once for 1 catch. But the other Rams receivers, remember that long Tutu Atwell touchdown? That was on him. Kindle Vildor still gave up 101 yards in his coverage and gave up a touchdown in his coverage. And we talked about this last week. Kindle Vildor giving up 22 yards per reception on average. Last week, gave up 25 yards per reception. You're giving up a quarter of the field every time somebody throws in your direction. So who is it going to be this time? I believe they're going to hide Kindle Vildor from Mike Evans, and that's going to put Chris Godwin on Kindle Vildor for much of this game. So we're betting the over 5.5 receptions for Chris Godwin, over 63.5 yards, and we're going to hit that anytime touchdown at plus 250 for Chris Godwin, who gets the Kindle Vildor pristine path coming up this weekend.
Beautiful. Now, for those watching at the same time, we have a graphic, and you can explain this now. And this happened to a lot of the props that you wanted to talk about today, and these move throughout the week, obviously. It was 57.5. So you're still comfortable betting over 63.5 with him?
Yeah, I don't like that everybody's moving with me on this, but yes, I'm still hitting it. I know every yard counts, and I'm not discounting the move here, but sure. And you may be able to shop it for less. I'm giving you DraftKings numbers. So you might be able to shop it for less somewhere else if you feel strongly about it. But I'm still comfortable over 63.5.
Yeah, and here's the thing now with sportsbooks posting, I think player props earlier and earlier, specifically this time of year. You can't help. I mean, you come on Thursdays, you can't help with some of these numbers moving. How does that correlate into what you expect with Baker Mayfield coming up?
Big game coming here.
Big game.
Yeah, big game coming. We'll talk even more about this and why I feel really comfortable towards the passing game here. But Baker Mayfield, we're going to hit the over 254 yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 105. That's gone down. Baker didn't score when these teams met in week 6. I don't care. He is a different quarterback now. Lions are a lot worse in coverage now due to injuries. Godwin's matchup, I already told you, I love. But Mike Evans' matchup is also very good. He's going to go up against Cam Sutton. Sutton was the guy who mostly got roasted by Puka Nacua last week. He's given up a touchdown in 3 of his past 4 games. Evans has got 6 inches and 50 pounds on Cam Sutton. Baker's thrown multiple touchdowns in 6 of the past 7 and 10 of the past 13. So just if everything is trending to this to be a big game for Baker Mayfield, and get this, here's your passing totals allowed by the Lions the last 4 weeks. 411 passing yards, 345 passing yards, 396 passing yards, and 367. My number's only 254.
Yeah.
That's a strong
play.
I really like Baker Mayfield here.
Yeah. 2 of those, Nick Mullins, if you can believe it as well. This is also correlated. So Godwin over, Baker over. But then you got to take White under. They don't try to run the ball. They can't run the ball. Detroit hasn't allowed a running back to rush for 70 yards this year.
You're taking all my talking points.
Sorry.
That's all exactly right. The under 55.5. Bucks don't run well. They do pass well. Lions' run defense is great. They ranked 5th in run defense by Pro Football Focus, number 1 in rushing yards allowed, number 3 in yards per carry allowed, and number 2 in rushes attempted. So there's not even going to be the volume there for Rachaad White on the ground. Possible negative game script coming. If you think that 6.5 point spread is legit, then you've got a negative game script that's going to de-emphasize the run. Of the Lions' last 9 opponents, 7 of those teams did not have a runner reach this line for Rachaad White under 55.5 rushing yards.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian. You can follow him on X at Paul Charchian. Okay, so the early game that we have coming up on Saturday, Houston-Baltimore. How do you want to attack the Texans, and which player do you think is going to have a little bit of success? Is it going to be Devin Singletary?
It is going to be Devin Singletary here. Now, so if I just, as you think of the Ravens, first thing that comes to mind, great defense. But is it entirely? I think most listeners will be shocked to learn, and viewers, over the last 5 weeks, the Ravens ranked 29th in rushing yards allowed, 30th in yards per carry at 5.2 yards per carry. Since week 10, 5 different running backs have topped 100 yards against Baltimore. Even in blowout Baltimore wins, it hasn't mattered. Houston runs the ball 26 times per game. Singletary's going to get almost all of that. Since he's taken over the starting job in week 9, Singletary's averaging 74% of the carries for Houston. And last week, all other Houston runners combined for 3 rushes. So Singletary's going to get all the work. The way you beat the Ravens is on the ground. He's running well. And our line is low, 56.5 rushing yards in. We'll take it.
Love the breakdown. Okay, so let's flip it then. It's always kind of a muddled backfield, the way it seems, in terms of rushing yards for the backfield of the Ravens. Gus Edwards, his prop is 45.5. Is that too many?
It's too many. We're going to go under. Last week, we hit the under on the Browns' number 1 runner against the Texans. We're going back to the well against Gus Edwards this week. Over the past 5 regular season games, Texans ranked number 1 in yards per carry at 3.2 yards per carry. And then last week for the playoffs, they held Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford to 2.5 yards per carry. That's it. And here's some things to know about Gus Edwards. He is a replacement level runner. He's 4.1 yards per carry. He's Pro Football Focus's 44th ranked runner. And this backfield, and you alluded to this, Mitch, this backfield is way muddier than we want. Justice Hill gets a lot of work. Melvin Gordon, maybe even Dalvin Cook makes an appearance here. So, and since week 12, Gus Edwards averaging only 11 carries per game. That's not going to be enough to get him to this line. Recent better backs have failed to top Gus's line against Houston, like Derrick Henry twice hasn't hit this line. Jerome Ford twice. Breece Hall didn't do it. So this is a tough matchup. Gus Edwards isn't very good. We're going under. The line's moving up to 50.5 yards.
One more. This is the one you like the least, though. Schultz under. You don't love
this
it?
Is the one out of all the things we're talking about. This is the one I'm least confident in. But let's talk it through for a second. Okay. It's a little bit complex. Okay. Ravens have got an elite coverage safety, Kyle Hamilton, maybe the best safety in the league going. Here's what you need to know. When he's going up, Hamilton gets deployed against a slot receiver if there's a good slot receiver to play against. So, for example, when they played San Francisco, Kyle Hamilton was on Deebo Samuel. And what happened was George Kittle went off for 126 yards. Then when Kyle Hamilton's on tight ends and there isn't a great slot receiver and he goes on tight ends, that tight end withers and dies. Now, we get to Houston. Their slot receiver is John Mechie. That is no threat. They don't need to deploy Kyle Hamilton on John Mechie. They're going to put him on Dalton Schultz. In the first game, that's how the previous game these teams played. That's how it went down. Schultz had 2 catches for 4 yards. We're going to go under the line on Dalton Schultz. It's moved down to 36.5 receiving yards. Does that make sense? The whole Kyle Hamilton thing?
Oh, yeah. No, of course it does, yeah.
All right, good.
Excellent analysis as always. Let's hope that you can get close to what you did last week.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know how many in totality this is, like 8? Well, we'll just do 7 of 8.
Okay, well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No
we don't want to get
Just
greedy.
knock that out.
We don't want to go
Yeah,
100%
right.
here, yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks,
exactly.
pal. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Reds. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
There you go. Again, you can follow him on X. He's at Paul Charchi. Missed any of the show, go back, search Follow the Money wherever you get your podcast. Good luck betting tonight. We'll see you.